coming to you live from the studios of the National Television Network. Let me say good morning to you. It is the launch of Creole Heritage Month 2021. I'm Humadi Mark alongside Primus Hutchinson, and we're going to be your hosts for this morning's event, this morning's activity. Creole Heritage Month this year is being held under the theme Kilte Kajewi, Culture Heals. And that is a theme that is very fitting given the COVID-19 situation that we've been facing as a country, as a region, and around the world as well. COVID-19 has disrupted the way that we've lived our lives for a number of years, the way that we celebrate, and of course the way that we celebrate Creole Heritage Month. Last year, we saw a new face to Creole Heritage Month. Everything happened digitally, and this morning, we're going to tell you exactly how we are going to celebrate Creole Heritage Month this year. Mais we will pass out the héritage Creole, ce Creole là, qui te dit bonjour Primus, et que j'aurais à moins savent, n'est un lisson. Un Creole là, puis moi hammer pour lisson Creole, so actuellement, j'aurais à obliger moi. Bonjour Primus.
Putting me on the spot, that's not fair, that's not fair. Bien bonjour, monsieur, madame, bienvenue pour Mission Sala sur télévision NTN. Côté pour l'autre année, nous avons encore célébré héritage créole cette année. Le thème là aujourd'hui là c'est culture Kajewi, culture hills. Si c'est ça, nous avons pour la culture nous devons être fluide parce que après moi héritage créole fini, si nous la culture Corona qui détruit le plus mauvais, alors nous pour la culture là. Plus fort que nous ici à notre grec qui est ici et puis nous pour discuter ça qui est fait pour l'année ça là pour observer journée créole moi héritage créole qui m'a été fait qui ça qui est différent qui l'année qui passée particulièrement comme nous en bas pèse corona alors c'est ça nous qui ici là pour l'autre éditeur western écoute.
You know, one of the things, Primus, about this year and this year's activity, looking at how it was celebrated last year, and there were stories that I grew up listening to, and I remember the joy in my heart just by listening to the stories and being able to, you know, relive the experience of my grandmother telling me those stories, possibly when she's trying to. We come from resilient ancestors. They started or they built their lives at a point where there is no social media, and a lot of the things that we enjoy now, they had to live without it. And the fact that COVID-19 makes us kind of start from scratch when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the way we live our lives, we can lend a little the theme this year for Creole Heritage Month, and of course to tell us a little more about, you know, a recap, give us a little recap about last year's activities. Of course, we're going to be having a chat with CEO, that's the Chief Executive Officer of Events St. Lucia, Lorraine Sidon is here with us this morning. Lorraine, let me say good morning to you, and thank you so much for being here with us, being able to share the information that we require for the launch of Creole Heritage Month 2021.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here. Let me just acknowledge our dignitaries. We have Mr. Melchior Henry, Executive Director, Acting of Folk Research Center. We have our Deputy Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Solange Belizier, and she's from, again, the Ministry of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information. Mrs. Ramona Wynn, Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation. We do have Sumitra Jha Group Leo, Membership Development Officer, St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture. Media personnel, staff of FRT, NTN, CDF, and of course Events St. Lucia. A viewing and listening audience, good morning. Thank you once again. So March 11th, 2020, that's when World Health Organization declared the coronavirus as a pandemic. And I don't think at that time we fully understood the devastation and impact of the pandemic. About 2 days after, so that would have been March 13th, Events St. Lucia, in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and the SLTA, we announced the cancellation, the first time ever, the cancellation of St. Lucia Jazz 2020. And again, I don't think at that time we understood the full impact and devastation of the pandemic. The domino pieces continued to fall because a couple of weeks after that, the government of St. Lucia announced the postponement of St. Lucia Carnival. And again, I don't think we understood the full impact and devastation of the pandemic. Fast forward to today, about 19 months after having made those initial cancellations, and maybe 2 years since any mass gathering in St. Lucia. We gathered here for the second consecutive year to announce Creole Heritage Month in the absence of any mass gatherings. Last year we were faced with the constraints. It was a bit of a new thing for us, but we were able to go full steam ahead. We were able to grab that silver lining behind a very dark COVID cloud. And we put on some fantastic programming, I think. We captured our culture, our historical content, and we showcased it through our traditional dance, language, storytelling, even our fashion. And we shared this far and wide with the media, the mainstream media, but more so the powerful social media. And I believe we were able to amass over 227,000 views because our culture is so rich. It is so profound. It is so deserving to be told. It is so undertold. It is such a force to be reckoned with that I personally think that if we were to capture our culture in terms of programming for the next 10 years, we can do so without having to repeat anything. So for this year's Creole Heritage Month and the full programming, my colleagues will share it with you. Mrs. Wynn from Cultural Development Foundation, Mr. Henry from Folk Research Center. But suffice it to say that more heritage Creole, the theme, as you rightly said, Kilte Kajewi, culture cures, and culture does indeed cure. So whilst our objective is to share that content and to make sure that we have it chronicled for posterity purposes, we also have some complementary objectives. One, in launching Creole Heritage Month and taking on this venture, we are ensuring that there is a trickle-down economic benefit to St. Lucians because we're going to be engaging over 200 St. Lucians in the whole of Creole Heritage Month. In addition to that, it's a powerful tool to support brand St. Lucia. Event St. Lucia was extremely pleased. Maybe about a week ago, we were contacted by a private commercial institution, and what they wanted was to get some of our footage and our content from last year, Creole Heritage Month, because they're having an international conference of over 23 countries, and they wanted to showcase our culture using that content because of the quality, because of the significance, because of the relevance to showcase St. Lucia. And I mean, brand St. Lucia is well placed if content so powerful promotes it. So that's another objective, and we're extremely happy that we well placed and well positioned to produce that. Collaboration is key. As I said, I'm here with Mrs. Henry Wynn from Cultural Development Foundation. I'm here with Mr. Henry from Folk Research Center. NTN, of course, is hosting us today. So all agencies are coming together to put this on. All agencies, because we have our independent but yet interrelated objectives of making sure that we promote St. Lucia as a diverse and culturally rich tourist and events destination in the world. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy about the collaboration. I'm happy about the programming that you will hear about soon. And it's my complete pleasure to be here and to launch Moi Heritage Creole, Kilte Kajewi.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sidoni. And one of the things I can imagine must have been difficult in putting together last year's calendar of activities. One of the things that for Creole Heritage Month, for a lot of us, what it does is it's a grand celebration of our culture. And I found that with last year's activities, we were able to capture the essence of my Heritage Creole, the celebratory essence, without having people congregate. So I could imagine that brought about some difficulty last year.
Yes, difficulty, yes, but I guess there's a saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Indeed.
So, I mean, I think, as I said, it's a silver lining behind everything that you have hold on to. And I think we did that last year, and we were well positioned to do it again this year. So you're quite right. We were still able to bring out the essence of our culture and, bring it to persons and to viewers and even the diaspora. Because of the constraints, we now tapped further into social media. And that allowed us to reach out to first, second, and third generation St. Lucians. And the feedback was amazing. So from that constraint, from that challenge, yes, we were able to make something good of it.
And like you rightfully said, what the new opportunity provides is documentation of our culture. So we have it for years and years and years to come, and we are able to very easily pass it on, not only to future generations, but to share it with the rest of the world as well.
Definitely. Yes.
Very nice. So that is the launch of Creole Heritage Month. You just heard from Laureen Sidoni, that is CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Events St. Lucia. And now we would like to take a look back, a recap, short highlight of Creole Heritage Month activities for 2020.
Oui, tout le monde, je n'ai créole encore, à nous célébrer, plus maille passé l'année passée. À nous aller, oui, chanter, oui, chanter, oui. Jodien en l'air d'idée, manger qu'à préparer, pour habiller belle, en hâte tradition tout seul, bagaille en temps longtemps, à sous exhibition, dernier dimanche mois octobre, ou kaitan créole plus souvent, ban. Billy Ware, Billy Ware, Billy Dunn, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde, Vini célébrer nous, Vini amuser nous, Vini chez toi tout bonjour sala. Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde. Ah, nous cachons que tu as vu comme une là, ah ouais. Moun sorti tout partout, pour célébrer avec nous. Ça qui sorti l'autre pays, gagné en chai bouti. Ici en occasion, qu'a mené tout le monde. Vini chanter. Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde. Vini célébrer avec nous, vini amuser avec nous, vini lécher toi tout bonjour sala. Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde. Levez la main, criez, levez la main, chantez, levez la main, criez. Tout le monde est d'autres pas, ouais. À chaque fois que nous avons tout pays qui a célébré journée Creole. Martinique, comme les journées qui passent à place là. Ça va bien. Dominique, comme les journées qui passent à place là. Ça va bien. Sainte-Lucie, comme les journées qui passent à place là. Ça va bien. Gozile, ça va bien. Journée Creole Mama.
And just taking a look at the highlights of last year's activities for Creole Heritage Month, it makes you look forward to what we have in store for 2021 in celebration of Moi Héritage Creole. And Primus, I told you what I liked about Creole Heritage Month. I like the stories, and in addition to that, I love the food aspects of it always, and the ability to get very creative with what I wear. What about you? What do you enjoy most about Moi Héritage Creole?
Well, I am so much a Creole person that everything counts. The food, the dances. I'm so much into the kutumba. I love it.
You do the dance too?
I can, of course. I grew up in a community where this is so prominent, especially around this time, October, November, December. So the kutumba, where
I would pay to see that, Primus.
Well,
I would pay to see you dancing.
I've been challenging you for a while, but you've been shying away from it. So don't let me expose you to the.
Oh my! Okay, I'll keep quiet.
But I do enjoy everything Creole. I live up to this day. I am still very much into our Creole. Lamentably, I with due respect to the FRC and the effort that has been put into observing Creole Heritage Month every year, I'm not sure that, I'm not quite satisfied that our young people are really getting into the Creole, the real essence of Creole, observance of Creole heritage, the things we did many years ago. I was quite pleased with the last Junior Creole we held. Some of the programs, I remember them down Miku, and they had the game, the jouet, Mamai, and so on. I believe that the jackstone, the ticket talk, and so on, and all of these things, just to sort of perhaps make it perhaps every so many, I mean, during the month, as the year goes by, that we should have some sort of a program to keep our young people interested. I think we should try, and I suppose, based on what I'm seeing here, that perhaps that is the direction that FRC and CDA. I don't mean to speak about Creole and myself. I think people should know that. I've been in this thing for much too long. I think I better go to somewhere else, like Italian, and experience Italian culture and so on. But so far, so good. Very well.
Nice, Promise. And I take some of the points that you're making, and you're very right. With making Creole Heritage Month or the celebrations of Heritage Creole digital, we can definitely see young people getting involved and being able to view, because I think one of the challenges that you have in getting them involved is that a number of young people, they're engaged in social media, they're consumed by technology, and I think the fact that we're bringing it to them, we can see some light, you know. I'm sure
it will work. Of the CDF, the Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation, Madam Ramona Henry Wayne. Madam Wayne, perhaps what we can do now is to take us through there's the Icon series and the La Marguerite Flower Festival. La Marguerite is supposed to be this month, right, October. Yeah. So,
good morning, St. Lucia. Bonjour, Primus. Bonjour, Honorable Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Acting FRC, Mr. Henry, Melchior Henry, our CEO of Events Company, Lauren Sidoni, as well as our host, Humadi Mack and Primus Hutch. I greet you, I bring you warm greetings from our hearts to yours. This year, for the CDF, it's no different from last year. Amidst all of the pandemic and everything, we are committed to bringing our culture to St. Lucians. We are once again bringing you the Cultural Icon series, as well as a platform that celebrates the life and work of St. Lucians who have contributed at least a 25-year body of work, who have presented a 25-year body of work. It's a platform that seeks to highlight the excellence in the art as part of our cultural and historical footprint in the arts and the contributions made by our people. The Cultural Icon series, we put a committee together of persons from diverse fields to select individuals for the 5-year period. And to date, we have celebrated 6 individuals. We've celebrated Ramo Poleon, violinist. We've celebrated Vincent Jody Udovic for sculptor. We've celebrated Arthur Jacobs as well. And for us this year, we will not be celebrating new individuals, but sort of doing a reflection year or so. 3 of our icons that we've recently celebrated have passed on. So what a wonderful time to go back into the footage that we have and share with St. Lucian their life and work, because we don't want them forgotten. We want them to be etched, you know, in our minds. We want them to be etched in our history and in our culture. So we are going to have the highlights of their moments, their life and work, so that our young persons, St. Lucians in general, can remember the work that they have done, the contribution that they have made to our culture, the contribution that they have made to the development of our country, St. Lucia. And a lot of them have also contributed to the world scene because some of them, their work went out of St. Lucia. So we want to bring you their work, and that is going to be put together in the format of a documentary to share with St. Lucians our appreciation for their work. You know, how we want to honor them. And again, CDF celebrates its 20th year next year. And we were saying, why not reflect on those wonderful moments, you know? The memory, like on series this year. We do the Margaret Festival. Again, we cannot go into the communities to celebrate as we would normally do. Why not use our digital platform? Because for years we've been crying about the young persons not having an interest. Here's our opportunity to get them even more interested in the Flower Festival. So we are going to look at, again, using the virtual space, and about full throttle. All the schools come out, and sometimes we don't even have space in the church to accommodate them. So this year, what we are going to do for the Margaret Festival, we are going to do a TikTok competition, which is your best Margaret moment, or your thoughts on Margaret. And we're also going to do your best dress. How would you look wherever? So there you have an opportunity to share with those children so that they can be a part of, you know, to show us and to put out the creativity that we know that is in them, and to also understand the festival and to appreciate it as part of our culture. For the adults, they will not be left out. We will go to our stock footage again and come up with some of our best moments of the festival, the groups, to just bring you that live component of it so that persons feel at least they're a part of and that they're contributing meaningfully to the festival. So it's not all lost. Our culture is our culture, no matter what happens. We will be proud to bring it to St. Lucians in style, in our cultural way we know how and we know best of, because I'm sure the rest of the world is waiting again like they did last year. They're waiting to see. We are winners, we will win. So our culture will do that for us on the world scene.
Very nice, and that's for the Icon series and La
Marguerite.
I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but do we know where it falls on the calendar for Creole Heritage Month? Or are we waiting for, we get that information a little later on?
Well, for the Icon series, we're planning to release on the 24th of October, and we will go with the traditional date for Margaret on the 17th of October.
All right.
So we'll keep that date.
And in terms of the competitions, we're starting ahead, or are we doing it on the day?
No, we will start ahead, so it will culminate on the day. Yes.
Right. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Creole Heritage Month celebrations of the Icon series and La Marguerite. Taj Creole, Primus ouve Bono Timoso Creole, ebe?
Ou vle mwen pale Creole ba ou?
Oui, mwen dou. Ou ka bon mwen lison jodi a, eh?
Ok, sa mwen kay fè, se mwen kay fè Madame Ramon di sa flè la Marguerite, mais plus toujours c'est personnalité qui a fait un pile en développement culture à cette ici avec folklore. Il l'emmène à Dayola. Alors expliquer, c'est un monsieur qui m'a trouvé un pile la sagesse Audley et toujours été engagé moi là nous été causer à ce créole à ce culture et aussi pile les autres so dis-nous moi nous dire en anglais qu'a établi en façon pour montrer à la télévision avec les autres associés qualité. Ça, c'est mon ça a fait, qualité contribution que j'ai fait pour cette ici en ligne culture, en ligne folklore et comme ça. So,
là, mais moi, je tombe pour faire. L'année ça, nous avons porté Icon Series là. C'est un series qui a fait apprécier travail là qui go gwek kilte apporter en l'année en la vie et pour 27 l'année, il y aura fait chaque travail. So, l'année ça là, nous avons point tout ça nous a on our way. Nous a on our way after Jacobs qui just passé jour passé, nous avons fait Honorable Charles Cadet qui passé l'année passée. Nous avons fait Virginia Alexander qui a passé so chaque monde a passé so parce qu'il a passé il a allé joindre ces gens qui étaient cobordé fait nous ka l'année ça porter travail yo ti morceau travail so monde qui partait ouais qui partait connaître about travail penser réfléchir à ce travail là yo a fait une contribution yo a fait pour cette ici so c'est pas pour grand monde tout seul ou nous voyons ces jeunes monde là apprécier ces monde ça là because si ou pas ni fondation Kai ou pas ça ni Kai so ces monde ça là c'est fondation Saint-Lucie en qualité so nous Kai porter travail pour bail public là pour tout le monde apprécier pour ces monde là qui a contribué pour faire qualité c'est fait sécurité. So, c'est moun ça là, c'est architecte qu'il nous, so nous kay porter travail pour tout le monde ouais, et apprécier cette ici, l'autre pays pour le monde apprécier et comprendre qualité contribution c'est moun ça a fait. Nous ça a fait le 24 octobre, nous kay montré un documentaire about yon editant. Pour être toute qualité de travail, c'est mon salaire à faire pour apprécier et que ça sauver à sous qui si sans tablette ou ni sauver ça sur mon maillot quand ni ça.
Excusez-moi là, documentaire ça là, est-ce que c'est seulement sur NTN mon carré mais toutes ces télévisions et aussi à l'autre média social est-ce que ça ouais ça a pas dit moi ça nous quand ni ça jouer sur NTN mais l'autre côté ça maman ça aussi
il y a sur NTN ou il y a sur toutes médias sociaux Facebook Instagram tout ça on dit social media nous kay là l'autre télévision et puis radio tout aussi nous kay ça so si ou pas ni social media qu'on y a télévision là kay ou kay ouais si ou pas ni cable ou ça ouais à sur Hot 7 TV you ni on antenne you sa gain so ça ouais ça so nous kay photo à sur toute plateforme
Hot 7 nous kay ni pour payer nous pour calculer publicité ça
do surprise I think it's when a lot moun masama de police ko yo when a lot moun masama
formidable mais vous pouvez me tous les jours alors so vous avez plus que vous avez madame
ça way too it is the launch of Creole Heritage Month 2021. If you are just joining us, let me say good morning to you. At this point, we would like to take a flashback, another look at the Creole Heritage Month celebrations 2020 in preparation for 2021 celebrations.
Your lips are cold, I've been told. The music that we would never have had if she hadn't collected it on tape, you know, like Cécile and so on. And of course, with my music, she sort of appreciated what I was doing with local music. And she did a lot to support me, including this voice you heard here tonight, my singing, you know, that would have been lost if she hadn't recorded it, Ode to an Artist, with her Heonora voices. So I owe a debt of gratitude to her.
Shakaran man, we get the Shakara boom. Shakara man, he go say, we just sing them like this.
Free salvation of humanity. Live up to that. My parents have worked hard so I could earn the privilege to languish like this. So conflicted and yet so content, agonized and feeling like a middle-class cliche because there's really nothing wrong. I just don't want to do it quietly. I think our generation lacks the quiet endurance gene. We absolutely thrive on melodrama.
And down the valley.
That's very strange.
Give it time.
But I've always heard it come regularly. I've always listened to it. How perverse.
No more perverse than other things. But you smell nice.
We've been sitting here for more than half an hour and you tell me now that I smell.
Help me sing a different song. My good day. Brought that job that took so long. My good day. Bless me with good friends and family. I hope you get your good day today.
No, the place is too.
Ni la voz ecuai, ni confiance ecuai, à la route c'est
C'est moi, Héritage Creole Heritage Month 2021 being held under the theme Kilte Kajewi, Culture Heals. Today we're going to take a video link, a Zoom link. We're going to be heading over to our Zoom platform to have a chat with Sumitra Jagrup Leo, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about the private sector involvement in Creole Heritage Month 2021, because as you heard before from our previous speakers, it is going to be a culmination of activities and involvement from various sectors. We're ensuring that not one sector is being left behind. So with that said, let me say good morning to you, Sumitra, and thank you so much for joining us this morning for the launch of Creole Heritage Month 2021.
Good morning, Ms. DeMarc. It's always lovely speaking with you. I think the last time must have been over a year ago.
Yeah.
And so thank you for your very warm welcome, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Deputy Prime Minister of the Minister of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, Ms. Solange Belizaire, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, Mrs. Lauren Sidoni, Chief Executive Director of Events Company of St. Lucia, Inc., Mr. Melcher Henry, Acting Executive Director of FRC, Mrs. Raimuna Henry Wynn, Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation, our media representatives, the staff of Events St. Lucia, of course the FRC and the CDF, the viewing and the listening audience, I wish you all good morning. On behalf of the Board of Directors, the members, and the Secretariat of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, we wish to thank the Events Company St. Lucia, Inc. for inviting our partnership in this calendar events for Creole Heritage Month. being aware of the significance of the cultural celebrations to all societies, and of course, on this occasion, St. Lucia's, we applaud ECSL on their bold approach to continue the celebrations every year through the successful delivery of the annual program in an era where everything else, you agree, I'm sure, seems to be at a standstill. We commend their showcase of our resilience, our adaptability through the modified approaches which have been used, especially in the 2020 program, which was delivered on a mostly virtual platform and ensured the available reach locally and, as highlighted earlier on, internationally, with a favorite being the Icon series, which honored actor and sculptor Arthur Jacobs. St. Lucia is aware and appreciates that the celebration of our cultural differences, as well as our common interests, help unite and educate us. We therefore welcome this partnership as a refreshing change from what we have been forced to accept as normal for almost 2 years. The St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce therefore encourages the participation of our members and the wider business community and reminds each individual to do so safely and responsibly. This year's program has been modified to include the participation of the business community through the Best Creole House competition. The categories included are the Best Creole Decorated Business, the Best Creole Dressed. Reassures the community of our commitment to serve as we navigate this shared journey. We certainly hope that all of the events are successful and rich in participation, as celebration and good vibes are very much needed at this time. Thank you again for your attention, ladies and gentlemen, for our brief remarks. And we are optimistic that Creole Heritage Month 2021 will set an encouraging tone for the upcoming season and hopefully the very near future. Happy Creole Heritage Month 2021.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sumitra. And of course, it's always a pleasure to have a chat with you. So business communities, business houses, you have heard from Sumitra, and you can be involved in Creole Heritage Month 2021 as well. So you can ensure that your Creole, your house, your business is decked out in Creole decorations. You can also have or participate in the mask competition as well. And in addition to that, the best Creole joke, that one I'll be looking forward to. So these are some of the things in the private sector that you can look forward to for Moi Héritage Creole. And let's just take another quick flashback before we share with you the calendar of activities, the full calendar of activities for Moi Héritage Creole.
Oui, tout le monde, journée Creole encore, à nous célébrer, plus maille passé l'année passée. À nous aller, oui, chanter, oui, chanter, oui. Jordien en l'air d'idée, manger qu'à préparer, moun habillé belle, en hâte tradition tout seul, bagaille en temps longtemps, à sous exhibition, dernier dimanche ma octobre, ou kaitan Creole plus souvent, ban. Billy Ware, Billy Ware, Billy Dunn, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde, Vini célébrer nous, Vini amuser nous, Vini lécher toi tout bonjour salam. Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde. Ah, nous cachons que le pas comme une là, ah ouais. Moun sorti tout partout, pour célébrer avec nous. Ça qui sorti l'autre pays, gagné en chai bouti. Ici en occasion, qu'a mené tout le monde ensemble. Chébé à souipo, si nous pas blé, ouais, mort. Vini boire, Vini boire, Vini chanter. Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Papa, Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole tout le monde. Vini célébrer nous, vini amuser nous, vini lécher toi tout bonjour salam. Journée Creole Mama, Journée Creole Chantez, levez la main, criez. Tout le monde est d'autre part, ouais. Ouais. A chaque fois que tout pays qui a célébré journée Creole. Martinique, comme la journée qui a passé en place là. Ça va bien. Dominique, comme la journée qui a passé en place là. Ça va bien. Sainte-Lucie, comme la journée qui a passé en place là. Ça va bien. Cozile, Canawi, Soupouye, January, levez la main en les airs, moi plaisant tout le monde crier. Ça va bien. Ça va bien. Journée Creole, maman.
Welcome back. We are here live at the NTN, National Television Network. I'm Primus Hutchinson, and we are highlighting the program for Creole Heritage Month for 2021, Creole Heritage Month 2021. And of course, we've had a few of our guests before, and now we have with us the Executive Director of the FRC, the Folk Research Center, that is Mr. Belcher Henry, who's going to take us through the calendar of events for this year. Mr. Henry, welcome, and well, congratulations. You are the new executive director. Acting. Okay, acting.
Acting. Yeah.
Well, thanks for guiding. Okay. Perhaps what you can do now is to take us through the calendar of events. I know there are quite a number of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, at first I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Ernest Hiller, Minister responsible for Tourism, Information, Culture, and Creative Industries, Mrs. Lauren Sidoni, the CEO of Events St. Lucia Limited, Events St. Lucia Company, Mrs. Ramona Wayne, Executive Director of CDF, staff of NTN and ECSL. We have quite a number of programs that I would like to go through. But I want to reflect a little bit on the theme, Kilté c'est Jérusalem, and also it goes on to say, Kilté sa pensée, aider penser pays nous. We can look at it in a literal sense by examining the fact that we have these herbal remedies, and we will come to that in a while. These herbal remedies that we need to explore further, find out how best we can use them in our sustenance and so on. And at the same time, there's another interpretation of Kilté Sajiri Peinu is to look at it as a re-examination of ourselves, all right, to establish the values by which we should live our lives, to make us stronger as a people and to identify ourselves as a unique set of people. So that we present ourselves to the world as a nation that has something special to offer. Okay? Now, one of the first programs we have there is called Bon Santé. And this program focuses on, it's supposed to be encourage a national dialogue on traditional remedies and increase the awareness of risk factors and treatments of common conditions in St. Lucia. And we know a lot about our common conditions, diabetes and so on. Basically, it's supposed to be an exchange between traditional and modern medical practitioners. There was also an element of training, but we have removed it because of the need to reduce interaction. So now it's going to be a 4-part series, which is going to run for about 10 to 15 minutes each. And that's Bon Santé. Then we have Creole Tupatu, which is a literacy program. And it is to facilitate the presentation of the rationale for the continued use of Creole in St. Lucia. And let me emphasize that it has to be for the continued use, but using Creole correctly. The correct pronunciation, correct spellings, people are very creative. They just spell it as they hear it. There is also a skills development component. We're supposed to go into the schools and so on. This has been removed, again, because of the COVID pandemic. So it's going to be all documented, recorded, and shared through social media. Lawen Creole, it was supposed to allow us to reintroduce the Lawen Creole brand in recognition of its patron, Cecen Descat. We have now, there was also a skills component because there's a designer by the name of Audrey Augustine, and we were going to arrange to have her train some other young persons in the design and the making of traditional wear. That has been changed. So now it's going to be a 40-minute documentary capturing the work of the two patrons, Cécile Descartes and Audrey Augustin. Festa Violon. Again, this one is to facilitate a handing over from a seasoned practitioner such as Julian Charlie Augustin to an up-and-coming young practitioner, Yannick James. Okay? Skills development component again was removed. So it's important to note that we have recognized that there's a need to pass on the skills to both in the construction and the playing of the violin, playing traditional music on the violin. So even if we are removing it now, hopefully in the future we can bring it back because it is something that is required in order to ensure that these skills are not lost. Well, spirituality, which you can't do without. So there's going to be a church service, and we've selected the Soufre Church. We have not dated this activity as yet. In fact, we have not dated almost any of the activities. But this is going to take place in Soufre. And then we have our International Creole Conference, which is due to take place on the 28th to 29th of October. This will also encompass interactions with Creole-speaking persons around the globe. Okay? Some of the objectives would be to examine the role of Creole in the rituals and celebrations in the lives of the people of the region. And one of them that I like very much is to explore the effective use of Creole in the dispensation of justice in the OECS. All right, and that is a project which is just beginning to take shape that we've sort of conceptualized between ourselves and the Eastern Caribbean Court of Justice. Okay. Then there is Festin Jouet, and there were two main objectives: to popularize the Creole games, traditional games, but also to get young people out, and to movement. That is one of the, because we become a bit, we couch potatoes, really. So we will still have this as a documentary, but the component where we're going to bring young persons out in the community and to teach them the various games and how to play them and so on, that again is gone. And then we have a Creole Calypso competition, and the main organizer of this competition is going to be Papa Invader and a group of persons. And we are going to be providing lots of traditional material, proper pronunciation of Creole words and so on via the social media on a continuous basis throughout the month. That's basically what we have for the calendar of activities.
I know who is preparing to ask a question, but I just two among the calendar of events, the herbal remedies, and of course the traditional, and of course the medical professionals and so on. I'm not sure how this is going to be, but it's interesting now that we have this pandemic, the corona, and there have been lots of discussion regarding the use of herbal remedies and so on, as opposed to traditional remedies, as opposed to our medical experts are encouraging us to use. I wonder how this is going to play out. I'm not sure if you would know.
That's a good one, because I was about to tell you that I'm not being a herbal practitioner myself. I am not sure. I can't, because the thing is, we can't really predict how it's going to be.
But it has been arranged.
The response. But we have someone who is going to be delivering this, and we are hoping that there will be collaboration, interaction between the traditional and the modern.
This one would be interesting to watch.
There is also the element of passing on this knowledge, not into practice, but passing on this knowledge to younger persons, at least explaining to them what the various herbs are used for and so on. Okay? But it is, like you say, it is perhaps going to be a challenge in terms of getting the modern medical practitioners. Yes.
And so on.
Yeah.
There's another one, the dispensation of justice using Creole, where the OCS countries are going to participate. That itself should be interesting.
Well, that is going to be very interesting. I think it's a very important project. We have persons who go to court and then, they can't understand or converse in English. So is the interpretation perhaps of what they say,
apart
the evidence.
from St. Lucia, Dominica, and Martinique and Guadeloupe, I know Grenada to a certain extent and Trinidad. I'm not sure if
Well, it doesn't have to be the entire OECS, but I mean, we work in the Court of Justice that serves the OECS.
Okay.
So where in countries in which they speak Creole, and where persons would be more comfortable, say, providing evidence or explaining themselves in Creole to a court, this would be useful. Plus, it would have another impact. It would help us in the acceptance, getting people to accept the Creole language, okay, as a, how would I put it? Lots of people, they don't see Creole as a language that should be recognized as being,
Well, up to this day, there are some supposedly, well, let me be very careful about this, who still believe that Creole is not a language. I don't want to create any controversy from there, but I am quite taken aback that people who are supposed to be well educated and perhaps they need to consult some of our linguists here. I suppose that's what they need to do.
I think.
I think that speaks to the importance of the Creole conference that we're going to be
Creole
having
conference,
to
yes.
establish a lot of those things. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to, the Creole conference, because I know we heard that it may be established in schools, or we're looking at the possibility of the introduction of Creole to the younger generation. I think that really is where it starts.
There is a project that's being undertaken by the Ministry of Education, which is to establish a language policy with the stated objective to get Creole taught in schools. We are participants in that FRC, but we're not spearheading it.
I really do hope something comes out of this conference, because I can recall some years ago, and I was so excited about this. There was this huge Creole conference that was held, or linguist, whatever, well, it has, the emphasis was on Creole, and it was held at the Sir Arthur Lewis auditorium, and then we had linguists from Dr. Carrington. We had a very good friend of mine from Jamaica, Dr. Christie, who actually, that is where I first saw the dictionary. Well, not first saw, I was surprised to find that this gentleman had this this lady had this in Jamaica, had this book. And this big, huge conference, after how many years, I don't think anything really came out of it. I'm hoping that this upcoming conference, that really something good, substantial would come out of this, and that we can learn a great deal.
Well, I think FRC would hope so too. I mean, we're not just putting this on just because we want to fill the space, the blanks.
Yeah.
One of the things that I didn't mention is that one of the things we're hoping to have available at the time by the time we have the Creole Mass is a hymn book written in Creole. Okay, so that is also something that we're working on, and to make it available to the public.
Interesting.
All right.
And I know that we haven't done it, but if you can, Mr. Henry, can just go through the activities, a calendar of activities for us, for our Creole speakers in Creole.
Okay, now Primus, don't rate me, don't give me any grade. All right. Eh bien, nous, l'année ça, même quand l'année passée, nous pas célébrer moi héritage créole, manière nous habitués à faire. Mais nous n'y pour assurer que nous célébrons tous les années, parce que nous pour chaîner à 4 7 lycéens. All right. So ça nous a commencé puis ça va nous accueillir bonne santé. Nous avons regardé à tout oui médoisier, nous avons discuté bénéfices toutes ces différents oui médoisiers en programme ça là. Programme ça là, moun ka savoir sur télévision, yo ka savoir sur YouTube, comme ça. Nous avons l'autre programme, nous avons créé Creole là tout partout. C'est pour encourager les gens pour parler Creole là. Et puis parler manière de la tête. OK? L'autre bail là, nous devons porter la reine Creole vieille, mais nous passons ni moun pas engagé avec moun manière yo te fait avant. So nous avons fait un documentary. Now I don't know how to say documentary in Creole. Now, do you know how to say documentary in Creole?
Nous avons put your program.
Program. Asou la vie c'est d'escat. Festin violon, c'est un lot côté nous Julian Charlie Augustine. Tout cette qui est intéressé en musique traditionnelle connaît Charlie. Et puis Charlie qui a parlé et puis un jeune homme qui a violin, Yannick James. OK? Ben là c'est ça, nous pas voulons tradition en mot. So nous voulons ça qui a ma pipi à dedans pour passer ça y connaître by jeunes gens. Ça qui plus jeune passer yo. Nous avons un messe l'église, et messe l'église ça a un cours en soufouillé. Nous avons un livre, I say hymn book, chanter.
Religieuse.
Nous supposons available pour le public là gagner qui en créole. OK? Et nous avons une grosse conférence créole. La conférence créole, ça a porté les gens qui sont Saint-Lucie et les gens qui sont dans l'autre pays pour discuter sur le langage créole. Bon, même si les gens ne passent pas à célébrer, what's the word?
You play?
No, accustomed to.
Manière habituée.
Manière habituée.
OK.
Ça ne va pas empêcher les gens de tirer son dehors, journée créole, canari, sardine, ti sardine, ti bois pain, avec famille, qui va être même cas avec eux, et puis pour eux célébrer journée créole. Si nous écoutons conseil ministre santé, et nous faisons ça, nous supposons faire, peut-être l'année prochaine, nous avons ça vieille manière de nous avant.
Mr. Henry, moi ça c'est trois moun moi ça vini pour l'histoire troisième moun. Oui. Right now we are going to take another feature video in. You are viewing the launch of Creole Heritage Month 2021.
Oui, tout le monde. Je n'ai Creole encore. À nous célébrer, plus mais passé l'année passée. À nous aller. Oui, chanter. Oui, chanter. Oui. Jodien en l'air d'ibé, manger qu'à préparer. Mon habillé belle, en hâte tradition tout seul. Bagaille en temps longtemps, à sous exhibition. Dernier dimanche ma octobre, ou kaitan Creole plus souvent. Journée Creole mama, journée Creole papa, journée Creole mama, journée Creole tout le monde. Ah, nous cachons que tu arrives pas comme une là, ah ouais. Moun sorti tout partout, pour célébrer avec nous. Ça qui sorti l'autre pays, gagner un chai petit. C'est en occasion qu'a mené tout le monde ensemble. Chébé à souhait, si nous pas blé, ouais, moi. Vini boire, papa avec moi. Vini boire, danse avec moi. Vini chanter, sans qu'il soit. Journée Creole mama, journée Creole papa, journée Creole mama, journée Creole tout le monde. Vini célébrer. Bini a mistake no, bini leche toi tout bonjour salam. Journée Creole mama, journée Creole mama, journée Creole papa, journée Creole papa, journée Creole mama, journée Creole mama, journée Creole tout le monde, journée Creole tout le monde.
Bienvenue, messieurs, mesdames, pour un programme ici face au public, à ce NTN. Nous avons fait finissement Creole. Alors, nous avons commencé.
Yes. So yeah, let's do it.
Nous avons fini Creole. Alors, nous avons commencé. Parce que nous avons pitché toute façade.
Ça aussi posé dit c'est à Chalman moi qui baille un petit so Creole là pour il la sobete moi c'est ça on est pour faire un parfait pièce. But of course we want to say thank you to all of you who have joined us today. Thank you so much Mr. Henry for all the information that you shared with us, and let me see if I can say that so Creole. Merci Mr. Henry pour information ou bon aujourd'hui les venir pour moi héritage créole et comment nous ça célébrer ou dit nous oui et c'est pas manière nous habitués mais là nous ça fait la caille nous pour nous célébrer créole là mais pour vraiment Maria, c'est nous ça fait la caille nous pour nous célébrer créole là chaque activité nous ça via sur TV sur médias sociaux et chaque fois nous ça fait pour nous assurer nous pouvons nous célébrer mon héritage créole et nous qui comme ça dit ça nous assurer nous pas venir malade nous pas une maladie corona.
Oui. Conseil
pour protéger nos corps de toute maladie.
So actuellement quand on lit ça
là nous sortons ici à nous ça discuter ça. On voulait dire merci autant pour tout le monde qui a écouté, qui a regardé cette ici et les autres pays à ce plan pour héritage créole. Qu'on nous a préparé pour l'autre mois pour observer culture héritage créole cette aussi créole culture à Jéry que nous a gardé particulièrement en situation de maladie corona côté nous pour célébrer bah pèse maladie ça là alors culture à Jéry comme monsieur Melcher dit la une discussion sur ces différents remèdes qui nous connaissent en tant que ça c'est un programme qui est pour ces docteurs et ces gens qui bien expérience qui ont pile expérience en service remèdes oisiers avec moi monsieur Melcher dernier petit parole avant nous finir.
Well, merci pour tout le monde qui a vu le programme là. Ni un bon mois héritage créole. Je parlé à la manière de supposer compéter nous pour le conseil ministre santé pour nous mettre dans la position pour nous célébrer l'autre année manière nous habituer.
Merci autant.
Avant nous aller, Primus, yourself by when you put the of course see nous qui turn from ministry qui nous est comme ça culté asu moi héritage et créole.
Malheureusement il pas de ça ici et puis nous était pour venir mais était nous WhatsApp les ministres la can combien différents bagages can pour faire alors il pas de ça venir aller à nous quoi nous initier pour ça faire des petites paroles sur moi héritage créole.
C'est ça.
Oui, et que nous avons parlé à plus les sons là nous vivons monter upstairs. Monsieur Melcher, merci autant, merci à tout le monde pour écouter nous et que nous avons que nous avons bon mois mois de observance héritage créole en cette ici. Merci autant et restez en écoute pour NTN dans le programme nous allons continuer. Merci.
No que ni coco, no que ni